Welcome back to the College Cinephile. Me and Eric last week went to the South by Southwest Film Festival 2019. Number 3, Us. This is the next horror thriller from the mind of Jordan Peele that stars Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Shahadi Wright, Joseph, and Evan Alex. This film is about a family that takes a trip to Santa Cruz, but their trip is cut short when they are terrorized by a group of people who look exactly like them. I am so glad that I got to see the world premiere of this movie, and my God, it was a very good time. Jordan Peele really has established himself as one of the big names in the game. He knows what he's doing behind the camera. It is definitely one of my favorite films of the year, filmmaking-wise. The way he has shot these people, because you have the doppelgangers and you have the regular people. The way there's scenes with both of them in the shot. Yes, this is like nothing new or revolutionary, but it's still the way he does it. I was very much of a fan of, and I really liked how he pushed his actors to the limit. The way he directed them and had them play two different characters, and the way he added layers to their characters. Like a given example is that with Winston Duke's character, his doppelganger version, he talked about at the premiere how when he was envisioning his character, he envisioned his character as a very tortured soul and just wants to be like the original because, little spoiler, not too bad, but Winston Duke's character, the normal one, wears glasses, whereas the doppelganger doesn't. And so the doppelganger is envious of the original one because they have the same eyesight, but he doesn't get to wear glasses. Just little details like that I was very much of a fan of. And in regards to the story, I liked it a lot as well. I did not like it as much as Get Out, but you shouldn't compare the two films. They're two completely different films, horror-wise, and I liked the story more of Get Out, but as filmmaking, I loved both of them equally. It was definitely a really good time, really good with the scares. 5 out of 5 for me.
So, on another note, we've got Snatchers. Snatchers is about a status-based teen who has sex for the first time with her boyfriend and wakes up 9 months pregnant with an alien monster. That's right, guys. Alien monsters and sex-hungry teens. Let's just put that together in a film, okay? Fantastic. How hilarious is this movie? And I tell you, you must find this movie and see it. If you're a fan of old movies like Critters and Gremlins, it marries Critters and Gremlins with American Pie. It does this really good job of just kind of putting these teen movies and these crazy old horror flicks together, and I could not get enough. Now, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but for me, it was awesome. It was so well done. It was funny, it was interesting, and they used practical effects, people. Now, they did use a little bit of CGI, but they hit it so well, and the practical was so neat. It was done by the guy who actually did the critters for the Men in Black films. So imagine that world of kind of aliens. It was so awesome, and they did a good job of just creating a way for the aliens to move without having to worry about maybe spending too much money. It was so good. So, if you get a chance to find that film, hopefully it gets out in distribution. It's a must-see. I gave it 5 out of 5 because I just thought they don't make horror films like that anymore.
My number 2 is Longshot. This is a film that's directed by Jonathan Levine, and it centers around a journalist named Fred Flarsky, played by Seth Rogen, running into his first crush, Charlotte Field, played by Charlize Theron, for the first time in a long time, who just so happens to be the Secretary of Defense of the United States. Go figure. As she prepares to run for the presidency, Charlotte recruits Fred to be her speechwriter, and in the process, a romance blossoms. This film also stars O'Shea Jackson Jr. and June Diane Raphael, and man, this was a damn good comedy. It's been a while since I've laughed this hard at a comedy, and to me, what stands out from a comedy and makes a comedy work is when you're laughing consistently in every scene. It doesn't have to be a belly laugh, hard laugh in every scene, but just as long as you're consistently laughing and bonding with the characters. It is such a good story, you know, it's your typical, it's kind of like boy meets girl, but the girl is, you know, much out of the league of the guy, but he's still gonna try and, like, you know, not necessarily go for her, but just like connect with her. And it was just a really heartwarming story. It really harkens back to like the 90s like rom-com movies, and it was just a really good breath of fresh air. But just because it harkens back to like the 90s doesn't mean that it's also not modern. It has a lot of very modern themes into it in terms of like women's rights, and also the way the status is right now with the presidency and politics. And it doesn't get too political, but it does have some really good commentary that I very much enjoyed. It was a very good time, and I really enjoyed it. 5 out of 5 for me.
So Longshot was my number one, guys. I loved this movie. It was fantastic. I really loved how it married the rom-com of the 90s. So imagine My Best Friend's Wedding or Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. It married those films with Seth Rogen, okay? So let's talk about the pee-pee humor of Seth Rogen, okay? That is what I'm talking about, you know? It took this childlike wonder of his films, you know, the way he really likes to just handle, I don't know, fart jokes. It's fart jokes meets romanticism, and they are amazing. I love that. The way that this film is put together is fantastic. It's smart, it's poignant because it's very political, but the politics is not even a part of the film as a whole. The politics is kind of just an underlying portion of it, but I'm telling you, it was incredible because as I got on through this film, towards the end, I didn't even realize, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a movie about a woman running for president. And then I thought, wait a second, it's a film about a female running for president who is single. What? It was fantastic, and it was hilarious. It was so heartfelt. It was honest. It was genuine, and it was funny. This movie caught me through the whole thing. I was laughing, I was crying, I was smiling. It was beautiful. If you are a romantic comedy film person, this is for you. And if you're not, and you just like Seth Rogen, this movie is also for you. Fantastic date film, 5 out of 5 for sure.
And my number one is Daniel Isn't Real. This is an independent film that stars Miles Robbins and Patrick Schwarzenegger. Yes, the son of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and is directed by Adam Egypt Mortimer. This film is about a troubled college student, Luke, who after undertaking a violent family trauma resurrects his childhood imaginary friend Daniel, who in his youth proved to be a very troublesome influencer. And man, what an experience this film was. I had a blast watching it, not only as a filmmaker myself, but as an audience member who loves horror. It was a really good time. It was definitely one of those films that is well thought out in every detail, kind of like I was saying with Jordan Peele and Us, but I just loved every aspect of it. The acting is like top notch, you know. It's basically like Donnie Darko on drugs, and the way they handle the imagery and like I said, like the details with like the imagery. There's one scene where literally the other persona, Daniel, is separating himself from Luke, and the way they do that with practical effects, it's almost like, the best way I can describe it is like when you have Play-Doh and you're like stretching it, and the way it stretches like that, but they split like that. I know it's like kind of hard to visualize as I'm saying it, but when you watch it on screen, it's, my God, it's gorgeous. Like, it is definitely one of the best like independent films that I've seen. I didn't think independent films could get a budget like this, but man, it was just, it was an experience. It was a really good time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. 5 out of 5 for me.
There's our South by Southwest remix. We're talking all about it. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was a really good time.
I cannot wait till next year because they do a really good job of picking out some crazy, awesome films.
Yeah, I can't wait to go next year, especially because I'll be 21 and I'll actually get to do some stuff. You know.
It's true, it's true. Well, if you liked our video, then like and subscribe us as usual, right?
Right. And don't forget to comment and, let us know if you, by any chance, saw any of these films or want to know more about these films. Comment below and we'll talk to you about them.
Until next time,
Yes.
this is us saying bye.